I hope everyone's had a good little break. And even though we only took one meeting off, it's been a long time since we've all seen each other. So yeah, I'm excited to be here today and welcome to another round, another year. With no further ado, we'll jump into roll call. Amy Wolkowinski, Chair, here. Commissioner Metzger, here. Commissioner Bourne, here. Commissioner Conkle, here. Commissioner Lammy,
Here.
Commissioner Skurlock, can you please raise your hand?
Perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Skurlock is here. And now I'd like to do the land acknowledgement. I didn't ask anybody to do it, and I haven't done it for a while. Oh my gosh. Commissioner Carlson.
Here.
Hi. I don't know why I didn't read your name. It's right there on my list. Lovely to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Okay, land acknowledgement. The Sustainability Commission humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place. And before we jump into public comment, did you want to introduce our new minute taker?
Yes. Hi, folks. I'm Jenny Neiman, Climate Action Section Director, and also your liaison for now. And more importantly, I am here to introduce Katie. Katie is our minute taker. They have also served with our office for 2 AmeriCorps terms and recently completed their second term working with our community stewards and stream stewards program, doing really critical work. Katie, feel free to introduce yourself in any other way.
I feel like that's really encompassing of who I am. Really happy to be here, and thank y'all for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. We're excited.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Katie.
Nice to meet you too.
Selfishly, we're just excited to be see Katie.
Okay, moving on to public comment. At this time, any member of the public may address the commission on any subject within their jurisdiction that is not scheduled before the commission today. Due to open meeting laws, the commission cannot discuss or act on items presented during this portion of the agenda. To address the commission on an item that is on the agenda, please use the Teams chat function. The chair will then recognize you. We don't need to read all that. Okay, is there any public comment?
Not at this time.
So no. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. And we will move on to review of the minutes from our June commission meeting, which was also our retreat. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, and is there any feedback or comments? Anyone, would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, fantastic. The minutes from the June commission meeting are approved, and all in favor? Well, let's vote yes before they're approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody. And let's move on to business. We have, I feel like a lot of things on the agenda.
Yeah.
A lot of really big things. I'm excited to hear about them all, and really hopeful that we can get through it. So let's kick it off with the expansion of the city's land acknowledgement to 4 elements with our sustainability director, Nicole Antonopoulos.
Thank you. So the commission is more than likely familiar with the city's land acknowledgement and the commission's acknowledgement. Oh gosh, it's almost been a year. But a year ago, both Jenny and I were at the Urban Sustainability Directors Network meeting that was held in Minneapolis last fall. And the city actually has a land and water acknowledgement. And it was just a very refreshing and lovely expansion of land acknowledgements. And so this wasn't a high priority, but upon return, I reached out to Rose Tohi, our Indigenous analyst and liaison analyst, and I just completely botched her title. I apologize, but I will get the correct title here in a second for our minutes. And to introduce the discussion of expanding the city's current land acknowledgement. And we had a few internal meetings about it, and Rose brought forward a recommendation to actually expand upon just land and water to include all four elements, including fire and air. And so I spoke with some internal partners, and what we have asked of each other, internal staff, is to request representation, 1 to 2 individuals from the Sustainability Commission, the Water Commission, the Indigenous Commission, and well, we'll just keep it at those 3. We haven't had any further participation because of staff turnover with another commission. But I am looking for 2 volunteers who would be willing to attend a few meetings to help develop a 4 elements acknowledgement and really utilize this as an opportunity to educate and as an opportunity to inspire. There's a lot of thought behind this that when we have statements that stay static, we tend to actually lose the meaning in them. And so the city's land acknowledgement has been around for several years. So we feel that from a timing perspective, this is a really nice opportunity to bring forward a recommendation to the city council to consider expanding the land acknowledgement. So the idea here is that volunteers from each of the 3 commissions that I mentioned will meet outside of the regular commission meetings to discuss an expansion. We've worked internally to conduct some research, as well as speaking with some representatives from various nations throughout the country to really get a better understanding of the 4 elements and how we could talk about that. So the job of the volunteers, again, 1 or 2, would be to work together to cultivate a final draft and then bring that forward to the city council for consideration. So this would be, even though it was my idea putting forward, this would actually be a commission ask of the council. Staff will be here to guide the commissioners through the process and do all the paperwork. But again, this would really be a commission effort. So I'm looking for 1 to 2 folks who would be interested in spending a little time, few hours. I'm anticipating probably up to 10. Not sure, over the course of the entire process. I don't know. I'm thinking a couple of meetings, maybe some homework, and then a city council meeting or 2. So 10 is a very extreme number, probably be more like 4 or 5. And there's no urgency on this. There's no set deadline. So it could be something that comes forward to the city council in February. I think we have a question.
A question about looking for some clarification. So what I'm hearing you say is that you think what you're looking for is membership from the Indigenous Committee,
Which we already have. We have 2 representation from
water.
Water Commission. We also have
Us.
representation.
We represent land. So we're not looking at land, and you're not looking at fire. We said no fire because that's.
Well, we don't have a fire commission.
Okay, so are we looking?
And we don't have, yeah, well, we don't have a land commission, so.
Okay. So then I'm thinking that what you're talking about though is that this group will possibly do some diving into the cultural perspectives on the 4 elements and how very likely the indigenous peoples of this area look at those 3 things or 4 things, excuse me, and possibly draw from them how they use those elements when they discuss honoring their relationship with spirits beyond what we live here. Then they'll come up. This commission will come up with, this group will come up with an addition to what we already have.
It would replace,
Oh, it's a replacement.
it's a replacement.
That's a lot.
Is it the same acknowledgement that's read in all of the meetings and things, or does everyone have a different one?
It's supposed to be the same.
That's the same.
I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know if any other commissions actually read and acknowledge.
I have to question, not to open up a can of worms that I'm sure will be opened when this session subgroup starts to meet, but you know, you're in Minneapolis and water is a massive part of the state of Minneapolis and it's a beautiful thing that they're acknowledging water. Here, there's a lot of contention around water and how the city approves water to be used, in particular on the mountain. And so I don't know what the end goal is with like, is this a public acknowledgement that like the city and tribal nations don't have agreement over water usage?
Or
And
is it a time for healing?
right, like, so I guess I don't want to volunteer to be on this subcommittee. I'm just wondering what the framework is going to be to set up that conversation for the success that so that every party is happy. 'Cause I feel like this is like a decades old.
Absolutely. Yeah,
follow-up.
and I will share that Rose and I spoke about that. And
Uh-huh.
we really thought that there's an opportunity for healing in that space. And what if we collectively, and I don't want to put too many ideas out there because
Mhm.
again, we have drafted a very rough core elements acknowledgement just to start the conversation. But wow, how good it could be if we could actually do an acknowledgement that water is so important from cultural history, from self-sustaining element of life. So can we come to a point where we agree on a path forward to heal?
I think it's a really big request.
It is.
Like for anyone to be like the voice of the Sustainability Commission and
I have another question. So I want to say we only recently met the person that wrote this, isn't that right? Wasn't there a gentleman, one of our meetings that said, I'm the one that wrote this, and we were very impressed. Either
So
this meeting
this-
or that meeting we went to at Lowell Observatory, might have been Lowell Observatory, it was Lowell Observatory. So what does that person think about this?
So the Indigenous Commission drafted the land acknowledgement
Okay.
that the city council.
So they're recognizing they're willing to make a move, make a change. Sand Lowell Observatory.
That Rose's title, she's the,
Thank you.
the Indigenous Affairs Administrator.
Administrator. I knew she had a reclass just recently, so I'm not good with titles.
I'll do it. I mean, it's kind of the learning experience opportunity is what I'm sensing, so yeah.
That's what I was saying, it sounds very interesting.
It's a really unique opportunity to collaborate with other commissions.
Is this, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
I was wondering, is this going to be led by any one commission in particular, or will it be a joint effort?
Joint
So it-
effort, yeah.
Definitely one of the things we said we wanted to do more of this year, which is that cross-commission collaboration.
And is the city council prepared to experience this change? They look at to.
They don't
Is it a surprise? Oh, it's a surprise.
Most things are.
Yeah.
A lot of background work with everything.
Okay, well, we have one volunteer.
Well, I'm interested in learning more and I'm interested in part. I love
Jump in, Barry, if you're gonna do it.
I'm just remembering all the conversation we had just changing it
Well, that's
from
the scary-
community
I know, that's the
sustainability
scary
to
part.
Flagstaff. Oh my God, it took us weeks to
Collaborative
get through that.
wordsmithing. Oh,
Now we're
no.
talking about rewriting this whole thing, but I would love to learn. more.
Well, and
I just wanted to say that I love the intent and energy behind this and even to make it more holistic. So echo what Commissioner Conkle says, that it's a big ask. And it's also sometimes like, it's the acknowledgement, but where's the action, behind that?
Yeah.
Great to channel some of that healing and would be curious what actions can go to support it.
Right, absolutely.
So are you
That is one of
volunteering?
that is-
No, I think it's very intriguing, but
Well, I think you only need 2 people for the committee. I will volunteer.
I mean, we have one,
He's gonna volunteer. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
we have one, yeah. So we have two.
Yeah.
Okay,
The two old people in the room. We're gonna lay our bones down at that.
Thank you
We'll
both.
see what comes.
Thank you both very much.
As I
Let's see
said,
what
just
comes.
remembering all the conversation we had, changing it from community sustainability grants to Flagstaff sustainability grants.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that moves forward.
Yeah.
It'll be a great experience working with the other commissioners.
I think it's very interesting. I find this.
I will say there's a lot of enthusiasm.
Communication,
The other two.
Is there any sort of plan already in place for getting together or any of that?
Well, now that we've got you all on board, we can start communicating with the volunteers. So we will get that moving forward. Again, there's no urgency or rush to this. There's no deadline. The
Land isn't
first,
going anywhere, is it?
the first element of this, the next step will be a communication via email to introduce the group, and then we'll start working.
There's a solstice coming up. I mean, that's always a good time for that sort of thing.
Beyond that, it's Day of the Dead and Halloween.
All of it.
Samhain.
All right, well, thank you. Let's move on to the next order of business, which is to kind of summarize at a high level some of the things that we discussed at our retreat, which was our June meeting. So we decided to have a retreat, get together and discuss what, as a commission, we would like to focus on over the next year outside of the regular business of the Sustainability Commission. We spend a lot of time focused on the Flagstaff sustainability grants, which is fantastic. But in the time that we're not doing that, we all have different initiatives that we're interested in pursuing. So we had this strategy session to get together and talk and figure out what our priorities as a commission are for the year ahead. And so we, as a commission, chose water pollution concerns. And that's just learning more about microplastics and PFAS and some of these contaminants that are really hard to separate and address, that are becoming a larger and larger public health issue. Just, get more informed and see if there's anything that we can do about that as a commission. And that will be something that we'll have to do in tandem with the Water Commission, working with the Water Division. And when I'm done here, Jenny, our community liaison right now and climate section director, is gonna talk a little bit, give us some guidance on how to go about that. Number 2, Tree Cities USA. And I heard mumblings that we might already be a tree city. And so I did look that up, and turns out we are and have been for 17 years. Funny thing is, I was just moving my daughter in to her new place in Missoula, and I noticed they have these cute little signs everywhere that say Tree City. And, so we are a tree city. We have been for 17 years, so that's great. We don't have to do that work. But I think what we could do is engage with the Arbor Day Foundation and see what it takes to just, do a little public education about what that means.
So
Yes.
that is handled by the open space.
Okay, fantastic. So maybe we just reach out to the open space program or show up for public comment
Yep.
as a citizen.
Absolutely. We can get in contact info for Robert Wallace, who's the open space
Excellent.
manager.
So if anybody else is interested in joining me in that effort, that would be great. But otherwise, I'm happy to reach out and move forward with that, because I think it would be a nice thing for the city, and it's something we all voted for at our retreat. So
No one's bragging about it already. I mean, if we were a tree
I
city.
know.
Yeah.
For 17 years we've been.
I think
The
it's
chamber, somebody, has got something.
It's just a communication breakdown. So maybe Jenny, like after the meeting, you could help put me or put out a call to anybody who's interested.
We
Um,
advertised
I'm
it.
happy to lead that effort. And that'll cross that off of our priority list and let us expand. The third thing we identified was learning more about public health and railroads because we have this huge high traffic rail line that runs right through the middle of our town. And we agreed that none of us as citizens know a lot about the impacts of that on our community. So, I'm not sure exactly what that'll entail, but in our discussions, it's something that we're all interested in learning more about. And then, so those were the top three. If we have time, additional priorities we identified are individual actions that we can take and outreach that we can be active in doing to support the carbon neutrality plan, as well as growth in Flagstaff in general, and how can we advocate for the city of Flagstaff to have more of what we need here so we don't constantly have to be going back and forth to Phoenix and other places, larger places to get the things we need, because that would also support carbon neutrality. So that's the high level summary. Is there anything I missed that any other commissioners would like to chime in on?
Yeah, I think that was a great recap. I also remember there was an angle on the growth one. You mentioned the one about like having more locally sourced items, and then another side was, I think, talking about like actual urban growth.
Yes.
So just
Yes.
the other lens on that.
Absolutely. And so again, we had this whole retreat about all of these things are important. My focus here was on the things that floated to the top when we voted. So we'll go down the list and make it happen. And Jenny, would you like to?
Yeah, so thank you, Amy, for the summary. I missed the retreat sadly, but in the minutes that we sent out, and actually the electronic minutes, which I'll resend the link to because I got that a little bit wrong. We have links to the priority work plan that you all voted on. There's also a link in there to the sort of draft that you all went through of all more ideas as you all talked through things that you talked through at the retreat. And so those are both in the electronic minutes online. And so I just wanted to share those and just thank you for the time. It is you all commit so much time to this commission and to all of these things. And so Amy kind of talked through the new things, but just as a reminder too, we also have these many other recurring projects that you all already get a ton of engagement on, whether that's coming from us and it's us giving you all an update, or it's the commission actually owning, right? And like the neighborhood sustainability grants, like the ordinance updates, which we'll talk about. And so I just wanted to kind of refresh you all on that. So thank you, Amy, for starting that. We have this sort of other list of, projects that we might bring that you all could receive updates on. The really nice thing is that these all, you all have listed these all fit really well into our office in terms of the projects that we're already doing. In terms of the commission's top priority FY26 projects, they are all things that we do not work directly on. And so we wanted to just talk to you all about that and talk about kind of how the commission can handle those going forward. We are really excited to see the commission kind of go into these things, but because they are not things that we work on specifically, what we want to do is really empower you all to say, yes, water pollution. We are going to plan out that agenda item, right? We are going to, and that's how council works in a lot of ways too. Like when they have a future agenda item request, the council member owns that agenda item. So you all really can own that agenda item and figure out when you want this to come to council, who you want to be there, invite the guests, etc. We will obviously help when, let's say with water pollution, those are staff contact, right? We will obviously help, same with Tree Cities, right? We'll get you all in touch with that, but we really, this is about staff capacity, to be honest. Our plates are fully full, and we do not work on necessarily these things. And so what we want to do is say, we really want to support you all working on these things. And we will help you find the right people to go, but we will actually ask you all to lead those agenda items. And then commission gets to, I'm actually really excited because I actually think that it allows for much more creativity. I think it allows for like broader discussions for the commission and for you all to kind of be bringing those things forward. So we already have volunteers. I have the spreadsheet of sort of, I know at the retreat you all had talked through like who, what, why, et cetera. And so I already have your sort of lead volunteers on all three of those priorities. So I just want to confirm those. And then, you know, basically, I think the way for us to work together on this is you all can kind of start researching who are the right people to be involved, all these things, and then really just reach out to me if you if it's a staff person, obviously, we can connect you there. But then we can get it scheduled whenever you're ready, right? There's no rush on these things. Tree City, right? As like that might be easier. Some might take longer in terms of research, in terms of finding who those experts are, et cetera. So 2 action items. I will make sure that I send this out, sort of all of these details from y'all's proposals, and so that you have them. And then I just want to confirm those commission leads. So on water pollution, I have Commissioner Carlson. That's
Sure.
good. Okay.
I mean, I presented it, so I guess.
Well, that's how that works. And I want to be clear, you can make this as much or as little as you want. It could be 5 minutes where you say, you know what? I found all this out from Water Commission and or from our water team, and you could give everybody a 5-minute update. Or you could, you know, ask your commissioners for 2 hours on it, right? Like that is really up to y'all, and we can figure out that kind of agendizing. Tree Cities, I've got our Chair Wolfowinski, and then Public Health and Railroads. I have Commissioner Carlson again. Okay.
I feel like I wish I volunteered for that other thing.
Meanwhile, I'm looking up tree stuff, so I.
Perfect. Okay, does that feel all right to everyone? I want to make sure you all feel good in this place. Again, I'm excited for it, because you don't have to be bounded by staff and staff time, actually. So, I actually think there's a lot of really cool things that can come from.
Yeah, I was
just gonna ask a question since I wasn't at this meeting, so I don't have any of this information.
At the retreat, I see. Okay, yes.
So, what I'm hearing you say though is that at the retreat, it was determined that we would have things outside of the grants that we're always working on. There's more that we can do for sustainability for our community. And these are the things that came up. And now I hear that Cameron is going to be doing 2 of the top priorities, doing some research and bringing reports to us, which is wonderful. And what else with all the rest of this? That's the question I have. So obviously we're going to be going into grants soon, and I read the minutes and it said, well, we have some ideas about grants, but we're going to keep them as they are now for the next 3 years until we make some big changes after that. Is that correct?
That's what I remember from the retreat.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of our time and staff time to make those revisions. And so this year, you guys spent a lot of time in the working group on that process. And so we decided that we would collect some data and just make notes over the next few years, but not spend time on a formal revision.
Reinvent anything.
Yes. It does need constant iteration, but we're going to choose to prioritize our time.
Absolutely. So things that have to do with sustainability as opposed to money expenditures.
Commissioner Carlson.
First, maybe.
Yeah, hi. I have an idea for the railroads. You'd have to be involved, but we can talk after the meeting if you want.
Okay.
Okay. I was like, I do know someone who knows things about public health.
I figured too. He knows something about public health too.
Yes, yes, this is true.
Commissioner Carlson.
Yeah, I'm curious. So we did talk about Tree Cities USA, and I think we also talked about like urban tree, canopy, and like maybe some climate resilience. And so like since it's a priority, but then if we already have that designation, and it might be like there may not be much work there. Like I'm interested in challenging it to like that we could try and embrace a more like modern climate aware, like resilient forestry framework that is tackleable within like just taking a different lens to it. Because Arbor Day Foundation is the one that does Tree City USA, and they're kind of antiquated in my opinion.
So are we hearing you say that you want to take on all 3 of those?
No. I'm throwing it out there towards sure.
I like that, Commissioner Carlson, the energy and enthusiasm you bring to this table is boundless. But I do want to say that I agree with Jenny that this is, it's a really great opportunity for us to take more of a leadership role working on and ownership of some of the things that the commission's doing. And I also want to say that we all selected these topics together. And so just because Commissioner Carlson put them forward, I don't think that you have to absolutely be the lead on them all. So, so I think, you know, as we move forward with our business and the agenda items, and as Jenny pointed out, the things that we, you know, have to be working on and are actively working on a regular cycle, we can just think about how we want to approach these things. And, you know, you can lead the water pollution one for sure. I don't know, you know, like we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
My idea is probably gonna work. I still wanna be involved though. For the railroad.
You're saying it will or won't work?
It will.
Oh.
I can't be the one in charge.
Oh, sure, sure.
I
No
think
problem.
that I'm.
I've already done a little bit of homework on both of those.
So
That didn't, I
I
didn't
think
even
this
get
will
a chance
just
to share.
mean what we might have some more time spent invested, you know,
Yeah,
outside of our
totally.
commission meetings.
I get
But I do, and I also want to point out that we have to be smart with our time here together.
I can imagine it could be like a mini working group or something.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought we signed up for that.
So let's, you know, we can think about it and communicate
I
through
appreciate
Jenny via email as we figure out how to talk through ourselves. Can we do that?
Yes, if it's two of you, you
Yes,
absolutely
we
have to
Okay.
working together.
Okay, absolutely. That's great. Okay, that's why I keep saying Jenny. Tia's so good at, you know, being that bridge, but yeah. So it's just as long as there's not a quorum, we're free to email each other. Okay,
Do we have a November meeting?
Yes, we just don't have it in this site, in this place.
So it is on our agenda
Okay.
for September to talk about the November and December meetings,
Oh,
because they generally fall on the Thanksgiving
oh,
holiday
that's right.
and the Christmas holiday.
My idea will also only.
There's a November meeting.
That's right.
All
We're
right.
not meeting here though for the next meeting.
Right, yes,
Someplace else.
That is correct. We are in council,
We're
So yeah, the
that-
dynamic changes a little bit.
downstairs.
that one.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for engaging on that item. Next up is Sustainability Division funding and the environmental management fee with
Yeah,
Nicole Antonopoulos,
That's
our
me.
director.
great. So let me just share. And Jenny, I'm gonna steal from you. So how many folks pay attention to their municipal services bill? Let's see the environmental services fee.
Remember I brought that water bill that one time because I wanted to know where it was.
All right, so every city resident pays a municipal service bill, which has several items on it, including your trash recycle, your stormwater fee, and your water consumption. The environmental management fee, which is our fund that funds the work that we do in the sustainability division, is based off of that environmental management fee. Okay, keep that in mind. Now I'm going to backtrack. That fee was first established in 2002. Trivia time. Who knows when the sustainability program started?
Shortly thereafter,
2003.
2007.
because it was a lot less money.
No, actually it was more.
Oh.
So 2007, the sustainability program was initiated. And at that time, the elected body decided to put the sustainability program under environmental management, which at the time was recycling education and environmental management, which is indoor air quality for city facilities, and a brownfield program, and an environmental code compliance program. None of, all but one still exists, so just so you know. So when the sustainability program was given a thumbs up in 2007, because there was already a structure with a brownfield program and recycling, they're like, oh, we're just gonna put it all together with this environmental management fee. Again, that fee was established in 2002, and it was a $4 flat fee for every water meter customer. So it was actually based on water meters. So for several years, I will tell you, our fund until just this fiscal year has been flat since essentially 2007. Give or take, it's been essentially flat. So in 2002, the environmental management fee was established. It was set at $4 for every water meter customer. So as
You're going there.
well, as our vice chair said, wait a minute, there are multifamily units may have more than one water meter. So what was really not working well for me, from an equity standpoint, was that as a single resident, I was paying $4, but then we had multifamily units with 800 plus individuals with 4 water meters paying $20 a month. However, if you think of the work that we're doing, serving potentially a household of 4 for $4 a month versus a multifamily unit of 800 for $20 a month, it just didn't pencil out. So over several years, and we tried to look at every potential model that could be equitable to serve our community. We looked at potentially doing it on square footage. We looked at number of bedrooms. I mean, we looked at every possible model to try to bring forward a more equitable distribution of the fee. So where we ended up, and now I'm going to get into the really kind of boring stuff, is because we only have fee authority here at the city of Flagstaff on water, on building, the built environment, so building permits, and on solid waste. Because we do not own our own electric utility, we have no fee authority in the space of electricity. So we came, this internal working group that had been working for years, came to a consensus that we would base an updated environmental management fee on consumption of water and consumption of trash and recycling, because those are our only fee authorities. So when somebody's municipal service bill is calculated, the environmental management fee is 0.33% of that. So the more you consume, the higher, in theory, your rate is. When we ran calculations across the board based on typical consumption of water and trash and recycling in December and averaged consumption in July, we found that the single family residents would actually go from $4 down to about $2.32. However, multifamily units would significantly increase. But we base that point, actually it's 0.34, that 0.34 percentage on a flat revenue. So this was updated during the pandemic, and we did not want to have any additional, if you will, financial burden that suggested we were going to be bringing in more income. So, which I stood behind. My biggest concern here was that we were being more equitable on the distribution of how these funds were used or billed. So that percentage that customers are charged is based off of creating a flat fee. So our fund balance, our fund generates about $1.4 million a year. And now it does. At the time it was around 1.1 million. And so when we changed the fee, it stayed flat. So is that, y'all still with me?
The optics were important, I get it.
Absolutely. We were in a pandemic, but we also needed, 0.035. I apologize, right up there on the screen. So what we were able to do then at the time, and you'll see on the screen a red line version of the ordinance. And you can see that it is relatively outdated it was outdated. We talk about around field land program, environmental code enforcement, which kind of should have been taken out, but it was left in. And what we did was introduced a new fee structure, and that was related to providing the core services of the sustainability division today. So we talk about climate change and we talk about waste reduction. We talk about general sustainability and recycling, and so forth. So these are considered core services that the city offers. So that is where our fund is. So if you bear with me for a sec, now I'm going to share our fund balance sheets with you so you can get a good feel for how our fund is, the health of it, as well as you can also see that we still rely heavily on the general fund for additional money because we just don't generate enough with our environmental management fee.
The fund sustainability group at large or as a whole, how far off
Or
are
other
we?
environmental issues, not just sustainable.
Well, for the entire division.
Yeah.
So our division is broken up into two sections. We have the climate section and we have the neighborhood engagement and volunteer section. So this is not all climate. Sustainability has multiple programs within each of those sections. We can talk about those in just a moment. Let me pull up.
The point is this money is not paying your salary, it's paying for the different stuff that comes under sustainable.
It's paying for our salaries. It's paying, well, not fully, but it's paying for some of our salaries and some of our work.
Okay,
That helps.
yeah, that helps.
So is the difference vulnerable right now?
Say again.
Is the difference vulnerable? I mean, what the city's making up and
So our, the way that the city budgets, and I'm going to try to do this in a way that I stay out of the weeds. The way that the city budgets is all of our positions are ongoing, except for two that are associated with grants. And I'll just keep it as simple as that. And then we have a percentage of Jenny's position, for example, comes from the general fund. These are ongoing positions, so no, they are not at risk. We call these base budget. So these are in our budget year after year after year. When we receive money from the general fund, a lot of times it's one-time dollars to work on specific projects. Just because our fund doesn't generate enough money.
they don't just make up the difference.
So, so let me just pull up our 5-year, what we call our 5-year plan. I thought I had it open. I apologize. I don't. So I'm pulling that up right now. And
And what year are we in the 5-year?
so every year a 5-year plan is generated,
I see. This year to 5 years out, okay.
which I know sounds kind of strange.
No,
but
I get it.
And you have to project for 5 years.
Once in a while.
I get it.
Yeah. So you're gonna,
It's like Russia.
See.
5-year.
now, also I want to state, the way that the city does its budget. When we every year have to, there we go. I'm gonna make this a little bigger.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So you can see, we'll go through our source of funds to start. You want me to make it a little bigger there?
I think that's good. I'm sorry.
There we go. So when we look at the beginning fund balance, we're gonna break it down by revenues and transfer ins. We also have to take into consideration, and I just want to point this out right now, budget year 2024-25, which was last year, and we are now currently in 25-26. You're gonna see intergovernmental at 15.6 million and 10.3 million. We have to create a placeholder for potential grants. So these are not secured grants, they are potential grants. So if we end up getting a grant, then it is actually allocated in the budget that's adopted every June. Have I lost anyone? Good. Okay, great. So you can see, if you look at revenues, environmental management, that is our fee that we're talking about. So what's projected for the current fiscal year that we're in, 25-26, is 1.37 million. We have a little bit of investment earning, and then of course, these intergovernmental placeholders for what used to be grant opportunities. And now you're gonna see under transfers in, the general fund offsets salaries by 121,000 and programming. Beautification, for example, funds our well, we have two programs that beautification funds. So it's interesting, it's not recognized in this printout. But right now, beautification pays for our Engage, Empower, and Elevate program. That's our E3 program, where we partner with a nonprofit in town that pays individuals a living wage who are in jeopardy or experiencing homelessness to help pick up litter. So that is a really important transfer in. This solid waste transfer in does not exist anymore. This was to do education in the community, and we can talk about that at another time, but the solid waste fund is not as healthy as it used to be, and so that transfer out no longer is occurring.
There's a substantial amount of money there, 103,000. I don't understand.
Yeah. And then we, for expenditures, you'll see 211,000. These are the fees we pay the city for human resources, for lawyers, for risk management, for grants and contracts. So these are the fees we're charged, and it's a percentage based on our fund, essentially. So non-negotiable. The other thing that we look at that are really important are future uses. This is, the first line is called ongoing capacity. So our fund, this was sent to us a few months ago. It said we had $110,000 that we will be able to tap into next fiscal year for ongoing, and no one-time capacity. So that is essentially what our fund looks like. So we are operating, our fund itself is operating at a deficit because of these $255,000 of transfer ins, less the 103, but we'll get back to that at another time. Yes.
I don't understand the transfer in. That makes it sound like you're getting money, but you're not. Is that a debit? Is that what you're saying, general fund?
No, that is a transfer in. So think of this, and I apologize.
Is that basically what it is?
This is, yeah, so this is coming in from the general fund, $121,000 a year, which pays for programming. $30,000 is being transferred in. So these, think of transfers in, these are internal pots of money.
They're loans, basically.
Contribute, they're donations,
Okay.
not
Well,
loans.
you said that you
Think of them as
you
donations.
described them as a deficit, so I'm thinking, okay, well, there must be
Yeah.
something we have to pay back.
So we are what is called an enterprise fund. Because we generate revenue. So these transfers in are coming from different fund sources. So we have a general fund, we have a beautification fund, which is your BBB tax. We've got a solid waste fund, and there are a couple others, but these are the only three that we work with. Okay. So this is what our fund looks like. The challenge and why I wanted to share that background with you is that our fund has stayed, as you can see, environmental management across that top line has stayed pretty flat, with a little bit of fluctuation. And we are faced with the challenge of how are we going to achieve these goals that we're being asked to achieve with a flat fund balance. My goal has always been to get us off of general fund help, as well as additional transfers in, except for beautification, because we really do believe that that is absolutely appropriately tied to the beautification pieces, litter prevention. So that is what we are now exploring is what does this look like for what we're being asked to do with a fund that has stayed flat against the backdrop of the general fund not doing well.
So did solid waste go away because it's part of the calculus and the fee piece of it?
It went away. Let me say that it's on hold for 2 years. Just because the solid waste fund balance is not doing well.
Cost of recycling and stuff is,
Everything. It's everything.
And the intergovernmental is, as you described, are grants. Are we confident there will be grant money or is that like still?
We have to hold it. We have to have it as a placeholder
Right.
because if, let's say, we didn't have that,
You can't.
10,373,000 in the grant, or in our grant portfolio, if you will, and we received a $10 million grant, that would then say that we had to find another place in the city budget that could accept that $10 million grant. That makes sense?
It does.
But I know there's no confidence that they're.
Yeah, we,
Yes, I know that part.
Yeah, we
I
just
know
have to,
that's
we
what I'm
have to put
concerned
it,
about.
we have to put it in there just in case.
We're not.
So when we just switched to a different style of this environmental fund from the water bills to not being on the meters instead, just based on consumption, why didn't we make it a higher percentage of consumption if we knew it was underfunded?
Yeah, well, because it all went, we did this during the pandemic. So there was a lot of concern about everyone's fiscal health. So the time is coming very soon to start having a conversation of what do we do?
So can we just rewrite it again to make it a higher percentage?
Yes and no. We have to go through a rate study. And that is what the city does. So water rates, you may recall that was a really big, very long conversation that the city council and the community and water services were having. The rates that they came forward are all based on a rate study. So we are going to initiate a rate study. It's incredibly time consuming because it looks at every single program, every job, and allocates a estimated correct rate. And I said that really strange, but I think you get what I mean. So a rate study hires outside consultants that come in and like interview us and all the work we do. And then they look at our personnel and job descriptions, as well as the goals and service levels.
So the rate is trying to calculate the right amount to charge people to fund what you're doing.
Yeah. And one more thing, the challenge is there's several divisions ahead of us.
No, that's another story.
Because everything got put on hold.
Yeah.
Solid waste was supposed to go back for a rate case 3 years ago.
Wow.
That's on hold. And without getting into, the water rate case was a really hard conversation. It was a hard conversation for the community. It was a hard conversation for the electeds. And so, yeah, I think that, the city internally has to decide who's next. I think.
What was the quick takeaway from that process and the water rates? I heard that they were increased, but just a.
They were increased. It was, how do I say this? Water services had a lot of deferred maintenance. And it ended up just getting compounded. And so it was a very significant rate increase in certain sectors. And so it became very divisive. And a lot of it is, infrastructure for water is incredibly expensive.
I know they did a survey or assessment of the water life, how much water we have for how many years. Does that factor in when they're talking about the cost of water? Does the value of water come in there at all? Is it likely to build it there?
I was not part of the rate study. I can't answer that. Yeah. Question we can, whoever's doing the water.
We're gonna talk, talking to the water people about the value of water.
Well, something I've seen them do in other places is trash is on volume-based pricing as well, for homeowners. You buy trash bags, basically. That's your fee to have it picked up. So everyone certainly stuffs their trash bags a lot fuller, and a lot of this plastic bullshit that we're dealing with goes away. And there's a lot to be said for maybe totally different ways. So if we could do anything to encourage waste management to get pushed up, because I know recycling costs, it's not a savings. Gives people a really good feeling a lot of times, but it's hot air.
Yeah, for sure. And we, in 2017, we worked with the former solid waste director on bringing forward the rate case, and volumetric pricing was on deck, and full replacement of all carts to have a 90-gallon, a 60-gallon, a 45-gallon. Everything was stacked up, and the decision was made to not go in that direction with the new director. So I agree with you. I also want to challenge everyone at the table that recycling, people automatically tend to like, oh, trash is going to cost me. But recycling has unfortunately been sold as a money-making endeavor. It costs equally as trash.
More, doesn't it?
Yes, I mean, for us, because of our geographic.
Yeah, we have our own waste depository, but we
Right,
have
we
to
don't
send
have a-
recycling to Phoenix. So we truck it, spend money on fuel, all kinds of crap.
A few trucks 2 times a day.
Is this purely informational or is there an ask?
This is just informational to give the commission some background, and we've never, this commission, maybe you've sat through this before.
See some budget lines.
Yeah. I just wanted to introduce it because I think it's been a while. One of the things, because we need to start talking about this moving forward, and like, what does this mean with all of the climate work that we are supposed to be achieving, is rooted in the fact that we have been spending so much time over the last few years in building these strong foundations for climate action that are centered around code and policies and programming. Now we're shifting into a space where we need more money. We need more money to do this work. And how do we move forward in a way that doesn't pit all the needs within the city organization? We need public safety money. We have less police and fire now than we did in 2000.
We don't even have our own jail.
So whatever, not to get political, but there are needs across the organization, and it's a really difficult space to operate in. And we had a lot of hope with all the federal funding that was available. And now we're going to have to look elsewhere.
Do you think that like growth with Flagstaff, I mean, obviously population's growing, is that gonna make the funds higher with more people paying water bills?
You can see the growth trend right there. It's very minimal.
So that's, okay.
That's the growth trend. We will see a bit of a spike because of the water rate increases. We had about a $300,000, I think it was right around there, spike for the water rate increase. We will know more in January, like where that stabilizes, because that will be one full year of the new water rates. But again, we're in the big picture. If we have a $300,000 increase in our fund balance, we could blow through that in 6 months with our energy rebates.
So it's the missing in the matter of millions, not hundreds of thousands.
To achieve our goals. So going to your point, what I just want to make the commission aware of is what we're dealing with. But also as we start to develop some strategies, I would like to bring those back to the commission to vet that and, get a temperature check on it, and then obviously hopefully support But it will be a long process. I just want to let the commission know. I wanted to see that now, especially in this, in light of having strategic conversations of what the commission wants to work on and where some of your attention is going to be focused. So,
Are you allowed to generate revenue outside of the city tax and fee structure?
yes.
You need to make some.
Hmm? Car wash, just something.
We can create, we are a revenue fund. And we can create an account, line item, if you will, for revenue that comes in that can then go back into our work. Answer is yes. And we've done that. Back in 2008, we had I think we got a little over $800,000 grant through the federal government. And then we had, back at the time when Unisort actually had demand side management, because the type energy efficiency program, we got a couple $100,000 from some private foundations, and we created an energy rebate program, a weatherization program that actually charged a fee for based on your income level, and that went back into the fund to then create more rebates. So we can do that, yes.
So I'm still missing a beat here and I apologize.
That's probably how I'm
No.
so brain dead.
I mean,
from
we
this
went
meeting.
from the number of
It's me.
meters to the percentage used by the organization, by whatever the facility is that correct? We moved from,
Owner of the meter or
Yes.
resident of the
for the
meter.
apartment complex that had 4 meters but had 800 people, they're using 800 people's worth of water.
Yes.
And so their cost should have been considerably higher.
Their cost went up, but single family residents went down.
Okay, so that's why there's really just not a big, huge change. I get it.
And again, I want to just make sure I'm being clear. This was during the pandemic. We made a commitment to keeping the fund flat
So
just because of the times.
is any of this part of the dialogue, for the 20-year plan that we're about to go visiting the city council with? Is there any discussion underlying any of this about funding and how things are gonna have to change on those levels as well?
You're talking about the regional plan?
Yeah, a regional plan that we're all.
The regional plan is a land use document. It's not, thank you for asking. No, the regional plan is a land use document. So, it can help set policies, but from a funding mechanism.
Okay.
But thank you for thinking outside of the box. And really that is what I'm hoping to. Once we get through the neighborhood sustainability, Flagstaff sustainability grants, at the beginning of the next calendar year, I'd love to sit down and carve out some time to really just have a brainstorming session. Just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean that that's the best way. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what sister cities that we have that are doing similar projects or have similar commitments, where are they getting their funds? Is there like a
Great
green,
question. Yeah.
is there like a
So-
green bond that we
Yeah.
can propose?
No, I love this. So we have some limitations because of state prohibitions. So I'm just gonna leave it there. And these are fee authorities. Jenny, am I taking too long?
I think this is incredibly valuable discussion.
I'll wrap it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
good.
so.
Okay.
You don't want to tell her what to do?
No, I think that this is incredibly valuable.
So Boulder County, Colorado, actually was able to garner a percentage of marijuana sales tax based on the greenhouse gas emissions produced by the growing of the marijuana.
Yeah, cool.
Brilliant. They get hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. One unique model. So there are a lot of models. I will tell you though, a lot of municipal agencies reach out to us for our ordinance, looking to create a funding mechanism. So, yeah, it's more about matching what we're being asked to do and how we're being asked to serve the community and how do we figure this out?
We do get some money from, the beautification, 30,000 goes from the bed and board thing, is that correct? Is there any other way to get more money from them on that one? Because that's a nice little chunk.
It is. That is, the answer is no.
We didn't have a beautiful city, people would want to come here.
So we have a new position on our team, our community services coordinator, on a wonderful individual, Blake Comiscio, started with us a week and a half ago. His position is also funded through beautification, $30,000. So we technically get 60,000 from that. And we will introduce Blake in a future meeting, but Blake will be leading very targeted community cleanups for litter, for pine needles, really trying to bolster our volunteer corps and so forth. So yes, we have tried to get as creative as possible, and I've maybe burned some bridges along the way. We were being asked to do a lot with very little, but I will tell you, we're so many within this organization, so it's not just us.
I don't mean to carry this on. I have one more question coming to mind. When you say the rates analysis, they come in and they look at the work that you guys are doing. How do they, so you guys are underfunded, so the work that you're doing is less than you'd like to do. So how does the rate analysis calculate for what you would like to do rather than what you are doing?
Excellent question. I don't know how to answer that. We've never been through.
Okay.
Again, so we went from a rate that was established in 2002 to this in 2021. That's it.
I mean, you could argue that switching it to the percent was like laying the groundwork for a proper rate analysis, especially with the, projects in the pipeline.
So we have a formal process now for rate analyses. The paperwork is quite extensive, and I will tell you, I've looked at it very high level. But yes, I don't know how to answer that question, but I will find out for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's very valid. Because it's here are all our programs. And so then they have to do the research around peer cities and programs and how those are funded, and so forth. Yeah.
Are you concerned you have to justify any of the programs when you come under that kind of scrutiny? We've got the will, that was existing and all.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, by no means. It's
Okay.
not scrutiny. It's really like that. You're providing these services. Are we actually charging enough for them? That's what, think of it in that way.
Okay. I don't know if we just had the analysts in,
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
So, again, this is similar to the 4 elements. There's no urgency here. This is going to be a longer term conversation. But again, since we were talking about that strategic space for the commission, I really wanted to put this out there because I'm going to need your help. In, again, that creative space, building capacity, and so forth.
I'd almost go out on a limb and say that there is more urgency here, especially saying like if we're behind and we need climate action now, then we need
for sure.
we might need a rate analysis and multiple other large funding sources within the next year.
Yeah. When I'm saying no urgency, I just want to say, I know you have the grants to deal with.
Oh, for sure. For us. I was like, this sounds like a big problem.
Yeah, no. Don't worry, I warned the budget team this morning that we have $5 million of ask. So,
Yeah. Okay.
by all means, no, the urgency is absolutely there. I mean, more so for the
I
commission.
appreciate that.
I don't want you to think I'm going to be asking you to do this while you're going through the grant process because that is all consuming. But please basically buckle up for when you're done with the grant process.
Nice.
Great.
Thank you so much.
And if anyone wants any additional information, please just reach out to Jenny, myself, and we'll follow up. But I hope that all makes sense and just help give like some just grounding of what we are navigating in the financial space.
This is you're not even applying. But I met someone this week who was just recently lost her job at the University of Atlanta. As the universities in our state, there she is. universities in our country are starting to do this, they're starting to hunker down because they realize that grants are not gonna be flowing. There's gonna be other things. Are we seeing that as well? We have to start looking. We should start hunkering down a little bit because there may be some reductions based on, obviously, no grant money, whatever might be happening.
Oh, we've been in that phase.
You've been there for a while. You understood.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely.
So we're not operating, with rose-colored glasses.
No. And I will tell you that we've never been able to operate with covered glasses. We have scratched and clawed for every dime on that page.
Even when we had some grant money rolling in, even when there was something coming from somebody, I'm sorry to hear that.
I will share with you, when the program was started, the budget was $12,000.
Wow.
So we've done well.
Yeah, I'll say.
Got a lot more. Thank you. Thank you for entertaining.
Out of the room.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was,
absolutely.
that was really comprehensive and,
Interesting.
really interesting.
I initially thought I was gonna put a slide deck together and I'm like, no, this is way too. This is great. Keep it fluid. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do, not just for tonight. Thank you for all you do.
It is my absolute honor.
Yeah, you're still on deck.
Holy.
Next item is the Sustainability Commission ordinance.
All right. I just want to start out by expressing my gratitude to the subcommittee that worked on the Sustainability Commission ordinance. In a similar fashion as we were talking about, the original ordinance was established in 2007. We had a clean and green committee at the city. And then I was hired to start sustainability and I said, hey, can I have that group? And so we updated the ordinance. And then there was a requirement. We used to have positions that were required on the commission. So representation from certain sectors. And that proved to be really difficult when somebody moved or just turned off of the commission. So then the ordinance was updated again, but only for the seats. It didn't actually look at the content of the ordinance. Like, what is the commission working on? It was, at the time it was drafted, it was very reflective of a very small program. Well, now we are a full division. So with that background, again, I want to thank the subcommittee that worked on it. I did send the recommended changes into the legal department. They did have a fair amount of changes. So what I'd like to share, and this is through the legal eyes, they were very appreciative of the intent. I took those comments and finessed to try to balance between what the subcommittee recommended and what legal's interpretation was. So I'm going to share with you the results of that. I will let you know that I sent that back into legal and we have a thumbs up. So with that in mind, what I want to present today then is the recommendation for the ordinance updates. This is informational only. What I'd like to do is have it for vote on next month's meeting. I want to give everyone time to digest it. So give me a second to pull that up. And I will send it out. I didn't want to send it out without context because for those who worked on it, it is different. If there are specific questions from the subgroup working committee of like, wait, why? We can talk offline and I can provide some explanation that the attorney's office provided, but I can't distribute their comments to you. So bear with me.
Are you running this meeting?
Yeah.
Shout out, I think Roger may have wanted to say something.
I am watching the chat.
Okay.
It's pretty stoic right there.
Well, before us came in and worked on something, we kind of thought he got
Before
her.
you came in, we were having some technical issues. But Roger, if you want to chat anything, or if you want to unmute, I don't know if it works now, but feel free. Nicole, you're totally fine with that.
You want to talk?
We're good. Yeah, take your time.
By the way, your dog is just beautiful. So beautiful. He's gone. He went off with Peggy.
All right, let me share my screen. More red lines. This is how we
A
roll.
lot of sunshine. Yeah, this is a good job. So. Never mind.
Getting dark quick now.
Come on. Sorry, my Teams is being super giving us. It's just reflective of my brain mush. All right, it should be coming up. All right. I'm not going to turn comments on, and I will strip those before I send those out. Okay. So the establishment of the commission will stay the same. What will happen is that you will only see, and these are standard within the city organization for commissions. This is not unique. So that update I had mentioned that happened to remove specific seats that made up the 7. That happened across the organization. So they essentially, the city clerk's office did a big sweep of ordinances to ensure that we were removing some limitations and barriers to having representation. Okay, so let's go ahead and focus on the purpose, powers, and duties. So you can see here that we've stricken the purpose of the commission shall be to continue the work initiated by the Clean and Green Committee and to further. So that's been stricken. We are going to focus on the commission will be working with city staff. There's 2 of those in here. Let me get rid of that.
Just a really quick question.
Yeah.
What is the, between the red and the purple, which is the new stuff based on the lawyer, right? Because I feel like we did strike out, like the continue the work initiated by the Clean and Green Commission was already struck out by us.
Yes, it was.
Right, so like, is purple the
So
updates
I
from what
have
we had
this,
already approved?
I'm trying to figure out how to do this. If I show you the red line, it is mayhem. So what I did in this version that we're seeing is I took what the city attorney's office approved that the working group had stricken and then incorporated their recommendations. So this is a merging of the 2. If you want me to bring up the red line version of what you all sent in and then what I sent in, I can pull that up.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay.
Otherwise it's confusing because it's still pulling in a bunch of the old stuff that we already.
But when you draw a
voted
line
to
through it,
limit.
that's taking it out. That's the whole point. You don't read the stuff that has a draw.
Right, so this, what we have in front of us, let me start over. What we have in front of us is the approved version that if the commission is comfortable, would go to council. Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through it this way or do you want to look at the?
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I was just confused at why like the old stuff is still in this version with the red lines.
Right. So we have to redline everything.
Got it.
In every ordinance that's changed. Again, because there was a lot of back and forth. This is the cleanest, this is the clean version. So it takes your red lines and then my finessing to meet legal needs.
And because ultimately what goes to council is
Will be,
the
yes.
full red line so that they can see past it now.
Yep. So, I can turn off the red lines and just do. No, let's go through it this way. Yeah. Okay, so it, as written, would read, the purpose of the commission shall be to work with city council, the sustainability division, and city staff to make recommendations and provide input to advance sustainability initiatives pursued by the city. Subject to state law and the procedures prescribed herein, the Sustainability Commission shall have and may exercise the following powers, duties, and responsibilities. The commission shall work with city staff, relevant commissions, and community groups to advance the goals and plans of the Sustainability Division. The issues addressed by the division may include, but not be limited to, the following: climate mitigation and adaptation, community resilience, community well-being, community volunteerism, food security, waste prevention. The commission shall work with the city staff toward the development and implementation of the carbon neutrality plan and the sustainability division strategic plan. The commission shall oversee the Flagstaff Sustainability Grants Program. The commission shall work with other commissions, committees, and advisory groups to ensure communication and foster collaboration. And the commission shall elevate community awareness and mobilize action to support the sustainability division.
That all looks really good.
Is there a reason that we struck out number 7 on the page before?
And some development.
Because we're not economic.
We're
We're not in charge of the economic structure.
It's hard to remember what we did. I feel like I have no
I
idea
agree.
what was the starting point of your changes that you made with
Fair.
Yeah,
me grab
It also looks like they're not.
So you can,
That's not in our
Yeah.
purview to work on
Like
sustainable
The
economic.
toxic substances going to tourism, like.
And this might be something that we can, look at before we come back to vote.
yeah. I can send the crazy
In that sentence.
red line version, and then I can send what would read as a clean version.
Or just like, what did we vote on and
It's
say
not
yes
too-
to, and then what is
That
that?
would be helpful,
Yeah.
because looking at that, I'm still seeing, I'm like, well, those are changes that we made.
And some of the changes you made are there.
Okay,
And I feel like some of the
Absolutely.
stuff that we put in is now not there, but you won't see it anymore, so I
Right.
don't
It's
remember.
nothing to do with the environment.
but I will say that
Yeah.
the ordinance as written sounded good, so.
Yeah, we'll send the full gamut of verbiage.
City council has to approve this. We have to have the lawyers checking it off. It's good for them.
Yeah.
For a second.
Did we go through all of it? Is that all of it?
That's it.
There we go.
I mean,
Looks good to me.
well, I think we do have a request, from Commissioner Conkle, just to see what the,
So very good.
The attorneys did to it, yeah.
You don't.
They get paid by.
I'm a
lawyers,
teacher,
so-
that's what I like to look at.
yeah, absolutely.
If you're not teaching law course, you shouldn't care.
Me, almost there.
So how many kids did you leave behind on your adventure?
Did you have to bail in the boat? Did the police yet? Wait, what countries did you go to?
Just Peru.
Oh, that's a nice country.
Ayahuasca.
They were not allowed to do ayahuasca. Code of conduct.
Neither were you.
Not until now.
Did you have to have that conversation?
We had to have a student code of conduct, say. but-
Yeah, I bet.
How old is
Nate, would it be helpful while I'm pulling this up to maybe go to something else that's quick? And I will get this stacked up. I'm trying to figure out how the best way to show all this is. Something quick, let's see. I don't know if there is anything.
Next one is
allocation?
Yep, okay.
Flagstaff Sustainability Grants budget allocation.
Budget allocation
Oh, yeah,
for
that's
grants.
over in Jamie, but
We already saw the breakdown of the budget, so we kind of know already.
Yeah. All right, folks, so this one is very quick. I do have an edit though, based on some internal conversations, after I finalize the budget. So, for Flagstaff sustainability grants, we have a $75,000 total budget. In the past, we have set aside a little bit of that money, and we just wanted to kind of like give you all that formal notice in a way. And there's a lot that goes into supporting these grants, or these grants, your time, staff time. But there are some things that are a little bit more, quantified, I should say. And so in the budget or in the agenda, I had said, oh, it'll be $1,000. But on further conversation, we realized we need to just budget a little bit more wiggle room. And we want to talk about recipient signage. So I'll talk about that. But what we are planning to do is set aside $1,500. That would remain, that would leave $73,500 remaining for the grants. And then the set aside money would be used for translation services. That is, if anyone needs help filling out the grant or in their application process. The Discovery Stroll, so incredibly successful last year. That's venue rental, that is any food, anything else that might be required within that. Just a huge thanks to that. Yes. I mean, I just still am like warmed by that, how great that event was. FSG Community Reviewer Stipends, another like incredible addition that you all made last year to compensate folks for their time in reviewing. And then recipient signage, which is, I think, Nicole, feel free to share more, but I think just a way that we would be able to say, this project was funded by this grant. And I think there's just so many cool things that come from that, of mainly in more people applying for the grant.
You mean like around town?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the stroll, that there'd be a little sign that says,
I
this is
see.
the grant.
No.
No, if I may, just real quick, and I think it was during one of the grant recipients' presentations, maybe 2 years ago, where they had actually designed their own little plaque. It was like, maybe that was last year.
It's like that out at Tuttle.
And it just, I thought, oh, what are we doing? We can be marketing, and we don't know what it looks like yet, but we'll come back to the commission. But we just think it's a really great way to promote the good work and honor your work and the time that's dedicated into this space. So.
Great idea. Kind of reminds me of Vice President Biden is pushing the money out that little it went everywhere.
This is because Vice President Biden is out there.
Did a lot of good too.
Signage for folks that are implementing their projects this year in 2025.
Maybe. Why not?
Yeah, we'll look into it.
I think we should, actually.
And we're right now just working on them.
Right, exactly.
Right, the timing is good.
Love it.
So yeah, and everyone, does this feel okay? We just wanted to kind of give the FYI before we siphoned off some of that money.
That's good.
Fantastic. Great.
Thank
You ready, or you want
I
me to go?
am. No, I got it. I got the non-chaotic. We all got upgraded to Windows 11. And it's been a little.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what what I submitted to legal. And so there's, what I can do is I'll merge the two with comments when we send this out to the commission, so you can really see. But this is what the commission subgroup working group had. Yeah. One of the concerns, and I will share this, not verbatim, was that some of the way the changes were written actually legally gave too much authority to the commission. So
Maybe that was our intent.
I just said, let's.
Who likes that too?
So it's not incredibly different. but the statement here about proposing city plans, policies and codes did not sit well.
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not, are any of us attorneys?
Nope.
Yeah, like I would, and I want to say, they really appreciated this work that they had to bring in. So,
Well, we aim for the stars.
as you should.
As you should.
I think by and large, most of it was just finessing a little bit. But it did take some specific focus out, it backed us out. Yeah. You all did a phenomenal job. I will say that, S, was completely stricken.
Yeah.
Because of revising policies and programs. Okay.
Should we try to sneak equity back in there somewhere then?
Shall continue to assess and revise its policies to outreach to program.
We can cover what we could do if the commission's interested for next month is we can have the side-by-side versions. And the commission can decide if they want to make any final adjustments to the one that was approved by legal, and then we can resubmit it. Again, similar fashion, there's no urgency here. This is something that's been on the commission's work plan for a while. But the commission is functioning fantastically. So this update, if we get it across the finish line in February versus November, there's no harm or foul.
Well, this is something that we're asking the city council to basically put in stone for us. It does not mean that we can't extrapolate other things in the future and add things to what we do as a commission relative to things like equity and working on sustainable economies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a difference between what we as a group do and set as our goals, and we can even do that every year. What goals do we want to have for this year? And it doesn't have to be written in stone, but this is. So they have to have somebody the city council is willing to put the monitor on. We don't have to worry about. I mean, I don't know about anyone else on the commission, but I didn't even know about this thing until somebody brought it to our table this last year. So it makes sense that we are able to expand on our own perspectives.
Do whatever the hell we
Do
want.
whatever we want, exactly. And not worry about that. But this was nicely written and nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, you all did a fantastic job. Would that be okay, with the working group, especially? I just want to be very respectful of the work that everyone did. So just to recap, Jenny will send, we'll keep it simple, the red line version that the working group created, and then the red line version that was approved by legal. And then next month, we will make an agenda item to see if there's any additional changes that the commission as a whole would like to see. And then we'll take it from there. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next month, when we discuss that on the agenda, if everybody is all right with the version that's approved from legal, we could vote on it.
Yeah, and it will be an actionable item. So we can put it in actionable.
I think that would be good.
It's just in case y'all are like, hey, let's move forward with it.
Right, like especially like the members of the working group that, spent the time, if we all look at it and say, okay, well, this is actually fine, we don't need to, then we could move forward and vote on it.
Yeah.
Unless there's something we notice that we don't like.
And then just as a reminder, an ordinance takes 2 reads at city council meetings, and then they go into effect 60 days, 30 days after the second meeting. So, yeah, great. Thank you. This was long overdue, so really appreciate the update.
Thanks for all the work you did to get it approved by legal.
Yes.
Walking. Okay, moving on. Looks like we're on the carbon neutrality plan update, and I just want to flag that we've got 25 minutes left and 45 minutes left of agenda items. So I'm not sure.
I'll be speeding.
Okay. I was gonna say, we can always consider tabling something if we have to. But
Speed it up.
I'd rather not. We
Let's
can,
go fast.
if you can adequately cover.
Yes, and I mean, I have been here a lot for the update, and I will continue to be here. And so, yeah, that's something that I'm very comfortable cutting a little bit of time on. Hi, folks.
Hi.
Jenny. And I'm here to give an update on the update. I keep making that joke, and thanks for laughing. Well,
Come on, time.
so I know. So, as a real quick reminder, we are updating the carbon neutrality plan. I did want to just start calling it the redesign, but I have to admit that there are many other things beyond the redesign. So, we're doing a data and progress update. What have we gotten done, right? What are our emissions now? What are our emission projections, et cetera? Part of that is we're going to be projecting our emissions also out to 2050 now, right? Like helping people think beyond 2030, because that actually came up a lot in discussing our regional plan. We will be redesigning it, which is the thing I am most excited about as the designer of the current carbon neutrality plan. It's awful. And it's an Word document. And so we're getting a professional redesign. Thank goodness. And we are highlighting sort of 3 different areas. These are the same 6 topics that I brought to you before. I've just gotten a little bit better about talking about them and kind of helping folks understand them. We'll be highlighting municipal operations. So right now, municipal operations are spread throughout the plant. There's electric vehicles, there's electric buildings, there's efficient buildings. We're going to put it all together. We're going to do a better job at talking about community equity. What does it take to actually implement this plan equitably? And then we're going to be talking more about resilience and adaptation connections. We've heard that the current plan doesn't talk enough about how the city is helping us achieve resilience, how the city has been working for decades on fire, on flooding, and helping prepare our community. And so we're going to try to do a better job at making those connections and helping to understand it. So that's the refresh. This looks the same as when I was here in May, I believe. I'm going to go through, and this is really in the weeds, and so I want to kind of warn you, but what I want to do is really give the commission the space to think about critically what we're doing here, because you all are our sounding board. In the past, we've had a steering committee for that when this carbon neutrality plan was first formed. We did the same with the 2018 climate plan. And because we're not changing our goals, we're not changing our strategies, right? That's what's really important here is we're not changing the goals and the strategies of the carbon neutrality plan. Should probably put that at the bottom every time I talk about this, right? We are working on understanding accessibility. But we don't have a steering committee. And so you all are really it. You all are really that sounding board. And so I'm going to throw a lot of things out here tonight, but I want you all to chew on it. I will also send a follow-up email with this presentation with kind of where we're going. And you all are that sounding board. And so I'll be back on your agenda always, basically, through this fall. I'll never leave, but I'll be back here in September to talk about this. And so, and also I welcome any feedback at any time. So, but I am going to get a little weedsy for a bit here. Reorganization, consolidation, this is part of that redesign. And our goal is to make this plan accessible. Do you have your copy of your plan? No, good idea. I've
A lot of candy.
yeah. I might have brought mine up there. I carry it around and I forget. Yes. This plan is 160 pages and it is one PDF. And that is how it exists on our website. We did PDF every different target area, so electric mobility or health and safety. But those just live as PDFs on different websites as in our attempt to make it usable. That is not a usable document in 2025, right? It was designed to be printed. No one prints it, right? They shouldn't. Like, who has a printer anymore? But that's good. But you know, we need to design it. Yeah, we need to design it to be navigable, to be understandable, to be really flexible and fluid and accessed online. And so all of this is about making it accessible, both capital A accessibility as well as lowercase a accessibility, that universal design for online access, for messaging that's just a lot clearer, for strengthening sort of our connection with the community, right? Everyone talks about, not everyone, lots of people talk about the carbon neutrality plan, but what does that really mean to them, right? Does that just mean like this cover, right, is what they refer to, et cetera? And so how are we actually sort of building shared understanding around that? We know we just need a really, really different document for that. And so that's how sort of where we're heading. And we want it to be a functional tool. We want people to use it. We want staff to use it, right? So we want people to find the sort of power within those policies and to use it. One of the methods to get there is accessibility. So the plan will be fully translated in Spanish. That will be online, as well as the PDF. We'll have Spanish websites. We will be designing to the highest web content accessibility guidelines. Kenzie told me how to pronounce WCAG. But that's, making sure that everyone can access it online, knowing that most people are accessing it online. Also designing for phone access, for screen readers, et cetera. All of this kind of goes together. That's really sort of like the tech behind the document, as well as the Spanish translation. Plan design and content. So this is where it gets a little more fun. It's all fun. We're going to create some supporting documents. But we know that this as one PDF does not work well, right? What we want to figure out is what are those supporting documents that break up this big plan. What's one of those things is sort of a learning and narrative chapter. This plan, and even more so the 2018 Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, they were designed to be learning documents, to walk with our community through our first climate plan in 2018, as well as Arizona's first community-based climate plan, to really help navigate sort of all of the different perspectives that might be coming to this, because it was our first climate plan. That makes a good learning plan and a good learning document. That does not make a good policy document. Right. And so what we're going to do is say, how can we be more flexible and create lots of different documents to help people understand this in the way they need to? Online access helps with that a lot if we're actually designing to be online. Municipal operations, as I said before, make it so that our staff can open it up and see exactly what we're supposed to be doing with our municipal buildings and our assets, and make it a lot easier. And then City of Flagstaff division blueprints, these are actually not a part of the plan, but what they are is we are going to basically take what's in here for the plan for every division in the city and make it very, very clear what is their responsibility, what are their actions, what are they contributing to this, what are they already doing, right? Lifting them up as well as supporting their leadership in this. Simplification through content removal. I will get into that a little bit more, but this thing is too long. 160-page document is not accessible, it's not readable, it's not useful. And so what can we take out? A lot of that will go into the narrative appendix, but a lot of that will just be consolidated or referenced to our other plans. Again, when you think about it as an online document, you're like, yeah, we can hyperlink that instead of putting in a page about what the regional plan is, right? It's just a lot easier to sort of break that up. And then revising quite a lot for clarity. Next is reorg. This is what I'm maybe most excited about. We are going to be reorganizing our target areas. These are our target areas of this lovely document or sort of design. We started with 9 target areas in 2021. That was when we also were sort of holding the 2018 Climate Action and Adaptation Plan with it, because frankly, we just didn't have time in the year we had to develop this plan to consolidate those. We then went to 15 target areas in 2022 when we basically combined the 2 documents together. That is a lot of target areas, and they're also not well organized. There's a lot of debate about what commitments even means. And so we're going to be reorganizing this. That means reorganizing the entire plan. But again, no one's reading this thing cover to cover, right? And we want it to be part of that fluid document. So that's part of that conversation. Visualizing key concepts. So part of that redesign is we will have professionally made infographics and design to help increase that community understanding. Those are going to be around the 3 types of climate action, our 3 goals around community equity and vulnerability, and how we're really having those conversations with the community, and then how resilience and adaptation are implemented across the region. We are going to move our implementation actions out of the plan. I'm going to talk about that in depth in a second. As I said before, we're going to move that extra educational content to a narrative appendix. And then in every chapter, we're gonna be expanding. The one place we are adding content is we're gonna be talking about how each chapter relates to resilience and equity, if they're mitigation actions, right? And if they're resilience actions, we're actually gonna be talking about how they relates to equity and mitigation, but making sure that every single target area speaks to all three of those goals because they are so related. Rez, the target areas. So these are, I'm not gonna get into it now. If anyone decides they really want to think about these target areas and how best to organize them, we have some ideas, but we are taking feedback, so feel free to shout. But again, the idea is we're asking a lot of people because we just want to understand like what is the thing that people align with most, right? Across our communities later. Yes. You can shout via email or phone call. But that's just that it's a really big change. But it's really a big change if you're reading this thing cover to cover, right? It's not a big change if you're hyperlinking through to, oh yeah, I just care about renewable energy or I just care about carbon dioxide. So I'm going to talk about how our target areas look. I wanted that to be sort of our deep dive tonight. And again, I will follow this up with an email and I welcome any of your feedback really over the next month. And then I'll be back again in September. But this is the carbon neutrality plan. Hopefully this looks familiar. We have our target areas. So I'm going to zoom in on one target area, which is our decreased dependence on cars. Target area. We haven't really talked about this. We may rename some target areas too to make them more understandable, right? We're not changing the strategies, we're not changing the goals, but does anyone really know what decreased dependence on cars means? Is that understandable to folks, et cetera? These are the first 3 pages of the decreased dependence on cars chapter. We talk about emissions, we talk about how emissions are going to go down, and then we have a lot of text. These are the next 3 pages of the decreased dependence on cars chapter. We finally get into our goals specific to this chapter on the 6th page, as well as our resilience and adaptation connections. But they're pretty like broad level sort of description. So that brown box is resilience and adaptation connections. That's actually where we're expanding because we find that content really valuable, but that's on page 6, right? The goals are on page 6. And then you get into our actual strategies to achieve decreased dependence on cars. And then under those strategies, and this isn't for reading, I know how small that is. I'm not expecting anyone to read these words, but the main thing is the organization. Our first strategy in decreased dependence on cars, we've finally gotten to on page 7 of this one chapter in this 160-page document. And then under that, we have what are called opportunities for action. What those opportunities for action are is they're not every action that it's going to take to achieve this work, because that would take 10 more pages, right? To achieve, encourage vibrancy and appropriate density and attainability in our existing neighborhoods. That actually takes like an entire regional plan and a 3-year last cap process, right? And so what we tried to do is give a flavor of what those actions are. What we have realized is that these opportunities for action add a lot of bulk to the plan, right? And they also are not specific and it's not specified. Well, what goals do these even relate to? And so what we are choosing to do is we are going to remove these action items from the adopted plan from council. And so here is now 7, 8, 9, page 9 of the plan. And actually this is to 10. By page 10 of this one chapter, you've gotten to all of these. And so what we are going to do is we are going to have one page when you go to this target area that has the strategies. The strategies are where the sort of meat of the plan is. Invest in comprehensive and equitable transit, right? What we want to do, and I forgot to put this in the next slide, but what we want to do is add accountability to these strategies, as opposed to the 2018 Climate Action and Adaptation Plan added accountability to the actions. That was really good. We're going to go back there. But what we didn't do is talk about accountability on each strategy, every one of these. Whose job is it? When are we trying to do it? What funding do we need? And so we are going to try to add details on implementation to both the strategies and the actions. The accountability sort of matrix for that will be in the appendix of this plan for the strategy. The actions we are going to make, and again, there's a reason why we did this and set opportunities for action. The climate world changes day by day. APS made huge shifts in their goals 2 weeks ago, right? We cannot anticipate where we will be 1 year from now or 3 years from now. And so we have said this needs to be a living document. What we have realized is that this document needs to live in its actions, in its implementation actions online, because we can't afford the staff time to update this thing every year, right? As we sort of maybe originally had hoped. But what we can do is we can update those implementation actions. And so the implementation actions will be online, and we will be updating them every year to say, this is what we're working on now. This is how things have changed, right? But what we need from a council adopted document is to focus on this, those broad strategies, and then staff will figure out how we get to that implementation. We will be also updating council as we update those actions, but it's a pretty significant change. And we're really excited about it because it puts the focus on what is that implementation? What are those actions? Where is that accountability? And how are we being really accountable to the community about that? By also having them all online and having them in place. And so if you all want to go look up, well, who is working on walkability? You're able to actually look up not only the strategy, but all of the action buttons. So I have now gone over my time. I will be emailing you about this, but we are now getting into our engagement on this plan. We have climate and coffee we're bringing back. I'm having a lot of trouble getting coffee shops to work with me this time, but we're going to be at coffee shops talking about climate. And so I'm really excited for that. And I will have more information on that soon. More importantly, we have open houses. Starting on Saturday, September 20th, we'll be at the Murdoch Center. What we want to do for these open houses is go back in some ways to the conversations we started with in 2018, asking folks what they're concerned about climate change, asking folks about what they want to see from the city and how we implement our climate goals. And it's really important. We're not revising the goals of this plan. We're not revising the strategies of this plan. But what we want to talk to folks is about how do they want to see us acting? How do they want us showing up in their neighborhoods, in their communities, et cetera? And so we're just going to be having some kind of broad conversations. We've realized in the past couple of years that a lot of folks missed those conversations in 2018, right? And frankly, we should be having them often. And so we're really excited to kind of go back there and have some just good conversations. We're working on a third open house for September. So we'll have one virtual, one on a Saturday, and then one on a weekday night. But a little TBD on that location right now. We will then go back. We'll work really hard. We will do more open houses in January, just to say, all right, this is where we ended up, folks. Here is the document. And then we are planning to go to council in February, but that may slip a little bit. And so we're trying to be kind to ourselves here. But that's that. I will email you all of this, particularly the engagement. We'd love to have you all there. That's what I have.
Really well.
So exciting.
Very well. Huge changes, huge improvements. Yeah, streamlining and
So good.
Deeply excited.
I love that you use the word tool.
to describe it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it should be.
Because it's not right now. Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm most excited about too.
You're both excited about using the word tool?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We need good tools. We need better tools.
Oh my goodness, you should say something in your toolbox. Your tool We gotta put something in our tool belt.
Keep going, okay?
All right, so I have the June monthly report. I am not going to go through it, but we'll email that out. The links are in the agenda. Really is just a credit to the sustainability office team. There's just so much always happening. In June, we highlighted our Green Business Boot Camp, our climate resilience project, invasive weeds, all of our engagement, the energy upgrades for healthy homes program, our e-bike fleet, our NEVs team, just continuing to engage with a ton of people through a ton of cleanups, watershed cleanup series put on by our friend Katie. There's just so much happening. I am just going to move on. And then, sorry, thank you. In July, I will make this one even bigger. In July, we did say farewell to our friends Casey and Tia. as well as a number of AmeriCorps. We did a ton on community resilience, equity engagement. Our rebate program started back up again. We had a pause due to running out of funding, which is good. It means a lot of people are using it. We did have a solar resource day planned. Our community stewards program again continued to engage with hundreds of people, as well as our E3 program. So that's June and July in 3 minutes.
Good job.
The last thing I was gonna do is just pull up the working calendar. That is not where I don't think we're gonna get into the details today, but what we really wanted to do is make sure that you all, oh, and it's just not gonna show, okay, that you all have access to and are looking at the council working calendar. There is so much happening. Mary mentioned, the Commissioner Metzger mentioned the regional plan. It is regional plan time. Regional plan is going to be at the Planning and Zoning Commission for the next 2 months, really, for in September and October. Council has a huge agenda. They did hear about the last CAT project, the land availability and suitability and code analysis project. They heard about that on Tuesday and directed staff to move forward. So I know you all had input there. They also heard about our virtual power purchase agreement. Nicole will be back talking to them in October on that. There's just a ton there. We don't have time to get into every item here, but yeah, we just want to make sure you all have access to this and are paying attention because there's quite a lot coming.
And you're sending this to us.
Yes, it was in the link. It's been in a couple links and I will resend them as well.
Yeah, and I think just again, in the spirit of strategy and engagement, this working calendar is an incredibly important resource. We can dive obviously into the discussion more later, but there are certainly items for engagement from the commission that are incorporated into the working calendar. I think what would be nice is we'll go through how to use the working calendar, the difference between a work session and a council meeting and a special meeting, and really just ensure that everyone's on the same page with how to interpret information on the working calendar.
Yeah.
It's, as Jenny said, it's kept up to date. It's posted on the city's website. It's available online.
In terms of our office, we will be there on the 16th to talk about building codes. Incredibly important conversation. We'll be asking for council's direction on the 16th for how far do they want us to go in terms of our research into sustainability sort of features in the building code, mainly around energy. We will also be there on September 23rd to talk about micromobility share. And if council wants to direct us to move forward with bringing or allowing a micromobility share operator to come to Flagstaff. And I believe that's it for the month. And then, as I said before, Nicole will be back for the virtual power purchase agreement on the October 7th.
Hopefully,
So those
meetings, and you can get the.
Meetings on the 16th, they're 3 o'clock. Does that mean they're working meetings or that's not whole city council?
They all start at 3 o'clock. And often though, it takes, there's more administrative items. And
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, yeah, we were there until 9.
yeah,
One day.
Really?
But, so I just don't want any of the commissioners to be intimidated by this. To be engaged with council meetings, you don't actually have to go to a council meeting.
right.
You can, we will walk you through how to look at agendas, and you can submit comments as an individual, not as a commission, but you can submit comments on specific items electronically. You don't have to show up to the meeting. So if you see something, building codes are coming up, not putting words in your mouth or advocating. You can send in a comment to the council saying, please support the most aggressive building codes.
Getting
Well, ensure affordable housing that way too. You put in affordable housing on anything in the city council, they're all over that.
So yeah, it looks like there's some questions.
I just wanted to say, I like looking at the city council agenda. I think that should be like a regular thing at the end of
We
this.
plan to actually do that, exactly. So thank you for that.
Yeah, this one was a little too fast this time, but just.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a really helpful
tool for us deciding how to devote our energy, and how to stay, engaged with council and just pay attention to what's going on. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I look forward to that being a regular thing. Guys, we're getting there. We're moving on to and from. Is there anything anybody would like to bring up? Anything coming up?
I just wanted to thank Commissioner Conkle as well as Jenna and Kenzie for all the help with the Flagstaff Sustainability Grant Workshop on Tuesday, and all of y'all's work to get that launched. So big shout out to Jenna and Kenzie, and our grants are live.
Thank you.
And they big workshop day. What? We had two people.
An applicant.
Okay, we have one applicant already. So that's it. Right after you. Really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And online?
Really excited. Tia left some really big shoes to fill, but we have hired her successor. We don't have a start date yet. We are in background checks. So we're not going to share names, but we are over the moon thrilled. And I suspect the commissioners will be as well.
Does the city council have to approve first too?
Hires? No.
No.
Oh, no.
How exciting. Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
Or the mini update.
I
Mini
wanted
update,
to-
the teaser update,
Mhm.
with the teaser date.
I just wanted to say that Friends of Flagstaff Street has a Strong Towns speaker coming in on September 4th, the East Flagstaff Library.
Do we have a flyer for?
I can email one to Jenny.
Okay, to
Same
Jenny
day
and
that
make sure that.
Ash Davidson's doing her presentation at the NAU on environmental writing and things. So she's a really good talker too.
Cool.
Writing.
And she's written a book about it.
Just to continue on the grants really quick, please, please, please send them. The more this program's better, the more applicants that we get. So please send to all of your networks. That peer-to-peer engagement is what we find really works. Deadline September 30th. So not about a month.
And if somebody that won it last year apply again.
I think you need to take a year.
Yeah, it's
It's
a year.
the caveat in there is
Anything else?
if they didn't get it last year and they applied, they can apply again.
All right, any requests for future agenda items at this time? Okay, I'm gonna take the crickets as a no, and this meeting's adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.